In my last video, I've shown you how I prepare a large tray of seeds. Growing seeds in large trays is perfect for professional use, or if your aim is to be one day surrounded by a forest of San Pedros. But for other users, growing seeds in smaller containers makes more sense. And today, I'll explain you why. This is going to be a mini-series of videos, as I will publish future updates on how the plants are doing and what needs to be done to them, if anything. The idea for this mini-series was given to me by one of the viewers in the comment section of one of my videos, so thanks for that idea. I thought that with the current lockdown and everyone being forced to stay at home, it would be cool to launch into a little project together with regular updates on how the plants are doing. Plus now we're in spring. It's the perfect season to start seeds. Of course you can grow cacti from seeds at any time of the year, but it's always easier to start at the beginning of the growing season. Feel free to copy what I am doing and start growing your own San Pedros or Peyotes from seeds in the next few days. You will be able to see how your seedlings are doing compared to mine in real time. It will be fun to follow it up over the course of the next few weeks. In this video, I will be using containers of various sizes. And here I am starting with the largest one. Although it's brand new from a shop, I'm disinfecting it with some alcohol. It's a food-grade container which comes with a transparent lid. Having a container with a lid means you won't have to wrap it up in transparent film like I've shown in previous videos. And this is not the only thing we're doing different today. We are not going to drill any holes at the bottom of these containers. The good thing about having no drainage holes is that water cannot leak at the bottom. As long as the lid remains on, you won't be watering, so drainage won't be an issue. Of course, when you remove the lid after a few months, you will either have to make holes at the bottom of the container or to transplant the seedlings to other pots. Now I am starting to prepare some soil. As always, the recipe is 50% soil and 50% perlite. If you want to know what the soil part is actually made of, check the recipe in my last video, how to sow San Pedro and Peyote cactus seeds. But otherwise you can just use regular potting soil from the garden store. I cannot stress enough the importance of getting just the right amount of humidity in the soil. This is something I've explained in the video I was just talking about. When you place the soil in the container, it's important to leave it loose and not to compact it too much. You can see that the perlite makes the soil very light. Make sure that the surface is flat and level. I am now starting to sow seed, and I will be doing that like I showed you in my last video. In horizontal lines, vertical lines, diagonal lines, and finally randomly to ensure an even coverage. Once this is done, I spray water on top of the soil from a small mineral water bottle. This is meant to wet the seeds in order to help with the germination. I can now close the lid, the job's done. Now I'm going to do the same thing with some small containers. These used to contain nuts, but I found a second use for them. When I say nuts, I mean the kind you eat, not the kind you screw onto a bolt. I put about an inch of soil in there, which leaves plenty of room for the plants to grow in height. Here again, I spray some water over the seeds. At the end, I put a small sticker underneath the container with information on the strain or species, as well as the quantity of seeds. You can also place the sticker on the side, but you should not stick it on the lid as it would block out some of the light. Also, it is easy to inadvertently swap the lids between containers as you check on the plants later on. Of course, it doesn't have to be a sticker, you can also use a marker pen. This is the way I've grouped the containers together. I have 23 smaller containers plus that larger one. They are arranged the way you see in order to fit the dimensions of my eating mat, which is 4 foot long and over a foot wide. Of course, there are smaller eating mats to fit the size of any grow. These containers are shaped in such a way that they are more narrow near the bottom. That means there will be empty spaces between each box, where the heat from the mat will get wasted. In order not to waste too much electricity, I have wrapped the entire grow with transparent film, including the heating mat, the insulation foam underneath, and the loose shelf on top of which they are placed. Like this, the heat does not escape as quickly, and it's easier to control the temperature of the entire grow. Of course, if the room temperature in the daytime ranges between 20 and 30 degrees centigrade, that's about 68 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit, then you are in the good temperature range for seed germination, and you won't be needing a heating mat, nor will you be needing to wrap up the grow in transparent film. If you pay attention to the height of the containers, you will notice these come in two different heights. I place them next to each other, alternating a tall one with a short one. Like this, they can fit closer together, and I can reduce the space between each container. If I remember well, the tall one contained walnuts, the shorter one pistachios. I don't eat meat, but as you can see, I do eat a lot of nuts. They are placed in front of a window that provides them with a generous amount of ambient light, so one single fluorescent tube is more than enough. This T5 tube is 4 feet long, just like the mat, and comes with its own stand. As it is, the tube sits at 41 centimeters or 16 inches from the soil level. Don't forget you should place the T5 tube 30 to 45 centimeters away from the soil level. That's 12 to 18 inches. I mostly grow seeds in large trays. However, I find these smaller containers very useful for growing small quantities of a strain or a species that I don't need hundreds of. I typically put 40 seeds in each of these small containers. These containers are also very useful for trying out seeds from sellers before purchasing more. When I say trying out, I mean finding out the germination rate and nothing else. The fact that seeds germinate well does not mean they are well identified. They could very well be of a different species, and I would only find that out in a couple of years. But at least that will let me know what the germination rate is, and therefore whether the seeds were recently collected or if on the contrary they have been stored for many years. Another use I have of these smaller containers is to try out different recipes of soil before I attempt them on a larger scale. Like this, I can vary the soil ingredients between each container and see which soil mix has given me the best results. For instance, I could add a certain percentage of vermiculite to the soil in one container and some cocoa coir to another one. Of course, I would write that information on the container with a marker pen so that I can remember it in a few months. For most people, growing in small containers is the most convenient way, as you can try out different types of strains or species. You can put 20 to 50 seeds in each of these small containers. 20 seeds means the plant will have plenty of space, whereas 50 seeds will have them more squeezed together, but both will work. If they are too crammed together, you may have to repot them earlier than the ones that are more spaced out, but both options will definitely work. Maybe the biggest of all the advantages of growing seeds in small containers is that if a problem arises, whether it's white mold or fungus gnats, it will be limited to that specific container. It won't affect the rest of your grow. Another advantage of these smaller compartments is that you can move them if need be. For instance, if some of them are getting too much light because they are directly under the fluorescent tube, then you can move them towards the sides where the light intensity will be lower. If you are growing some Bolivian Torch, for instance, they need a bit less light than the San Pedro or the Peruvian Torch, so you might as well place them near the edge of your grow from day one. Although in my particular case, with the tube being fairly high at 16 inches, they should be fine even if they are directly underneath. It's more if the tube was placed at just 12 inches from the soil surface, then the plants right below could be getting too much light. With a modular setup like this one, you can just move the plants to the outside if they are turning red. You might wonder what I have sown in these containers. There are the three classics, San Pedro, Bolivian Torch and Peruvian Torch, some peyotes, some less usual Trichocereus plants such as the Peruvianus and Taquimbalensis, as well as some very old seeds which I'm curious whether or not they will germinate. So stay tuned for the next episode of this mini-series in about 10 days. We will be opening all the different containers and see what has germinated. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and tick the notification bell so that you don't miss that video and the following ones. Also, if today's video was interesting for you, please remember to hit the like button, as that will help my channel.